Friends, patrons, Hillsborougans, lend me your ears. Welcome everybody to a very special episode of the Hillsborough Library Podcast. I am Brendan, one of your hosts for this evening. I am a library enthusiast. Yeah, I also have with me a co-host.
My name is Jenny. I'm a library worker. I'm also a library enthusiast.
Yeah, hopefully you just can find a quiet moment, sit down and listen to this podcast episode, and just find some solitude and some inner peace, and just let yourself go and become one with the library.
Yeah, I'm excited to explore the wonders of ASMR. So I'm kind of a newbie to this. Should we talk about what ASMR is, or how would you like to do that? Just jump right into it?
I think it's important to what we're doing here today, but in general, we're just, I think, wanting to take you on an auditory journey of what it's like in the library. And if that is ASMR, that's great. I feel like we should just start with describing what the library sounds like.
Okay.
I think a brain's growing, you know?
Oh, wow. You can hear the brains growing?
A cascade of information.
Okay. Absorbing the information.
People getting smarter. I don't know. That's what the library sounds like to me. What about you?
It's kind of a squeaky wheel, maybe.
Sometimes, yeah.
The thunk of a book being put down. Maybe a low-level tantrum kind of happening further off in the background.
Yeah.
Not close enough to where it would annoy you, but just further off in the background. And maybe a murmuration. Is that a word? Murmuration?
I think the English language lends itself to flexibility. So
Okay.
whether or not it is, you're doing great.
Right. So just low-level conversation, people making connections, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you really narrowed in on the specifics, and I kind of got the wider scope of the sound of the library.
We roped it all in.
What do you think about, as an exercise, do you want to describe the color purple?
Let's see. Describe the color purple. So, no, I don't.
That's fair. Okay. We can leave that there.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe with that in mind, the sound of the library, maybe you want to describe ASMR?
Oh, well, I'll just say what it means. I actually thought the A in ASMR was auditory. I'm wrong. It is not auditory. It is autonomous. Autonomous sensory meridian response. That's what it stands for. You didn't know that?
I mean...
You're going to host an ASMR podcast or an ASMR-like podcast?
I am a complete newbie to ASMRtists, I guess.
Okay.
So it's all new to me, but I just feel like I was meant to do this. So.
Okay.
So I'm just going to lean into it, and
You're
that's
living
great.
your best life right now, Brendan.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, great. Now, just in general, do we want to enjoy some library sounds?
That sounds good.
Yeah, like turning pages.
Yes.
Maybe we'll just do some book-related sounds for a little bit here.
That sounds amazing.
So turning pages, nails on book covers, I don't know, that kind of stuff. There's that saying, every time a page turns, a librarian gets its wings.
Oh, a librarian.
Are you familiar with that?
No.
Okay. Here are some pages turning. Enjoy. That is wonderful. I really enjoyed that. I hope you did as well. So, little known fact about the Hillsborough Library, we have a library cat.
Oh, that's true. Yes.
So you don't often see it, but we're going to give you a chance to enjoy the sound of the library cat. Do you know the name of the cat?
I was literally just talking about this with a librarian in the back, and he thought there should be a poll, but...
We haven't named the cat yet. That's weird. Biblios or Jenkins or something.
Dickens?
Well, Dickens. So here is, just enjoy this moment with Dickens. Wasn't that just soothing?
Soothing, nothing more soothing.
But what I thought we could do now maybe is, you have a few things you picked out that you'd like to read, Jenny?
Well, I sure do. Let's see. The first one, I thought this would be great in conjunction with the library sounds. I'm not sure if you're all familiar with the library book. It's a nonfiction book by Susan Orlean. It's about the Los Angeles Public Library fire in 1986. And I'm just going to read a small excerpt from the book. I really like this quote. I think it has a lot to do with what we're trying to do here today. It seems simple to define what a library is, namely a storeroom of books. But the more time I spent at Central, the more I realized that a library is an intricate machine, a contraption of whirring gears. There are days when I came to the library and planted myself near the center of the main corridor and simply watched the whirl and throb of the place. Sometimes people ambled by with no apparent destination. Some people marched crisply, full of purpose. Many were alone, and some were in pairs. Occasionally, they traveled in a gaggle. People think that libraries are quiet, but they really aren't. They rumble with noises and footsteps and a whole orchestral arrange of book-related noises. The snap of covers clapping shut, the breathy whisk of pages fanning open, and the distinctive thunk of one book being stacked on another, the grumble of book carts in the corridors.
Wow.
Yeah.
That really just nails like the quintessence of what a library is and sounds like.
It makes me feel very cozy.
Yeah, that was nice. She has quite the command of language. I also have a little piece I'd like to share. This is often quoted as kind of being one of the primary literary descriptions of what ASMR is, and so
I can't wait
I thought
to hear it.
I thought I would read it. It is Virginia Woolf, and it's from Mrs. Dalloway, and it's towards the beginning of the book. So I'll just read it, and we'll see how it goes. It was toffee. They were advertising toffee, a nursemaid told Rezia. Together they began to spell T-O-F. K-R, said the nursemaid, and Septimus heard her say K-R, close to his ear, deeply, softly, like a mellow organ, but with a roughness in her voice like a grasshopper's, which rasped his spine deliciously and sent running up into his brain waves a sound of which, concussing, broke. A marvelous discovery indeed, that the human voice in certain atmospheric conditions, for one must be scientific, above all scientific, can quicken trees into life. Well, why don't we take a quick little visit to the computer area of the library? Just enjoy the sound of people clicking mice, typing on keyboards, growing brains.
Exploring the interwebs.
Yes, here we go. All right. So I thought we'd do a little fun thing here. I brought with me one of my favorite passages from a book. It's So Long and Thanks for All the Fish by Douglas Adams, a sequel to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And yeah, we'll just read it and hope you enjoy. Here you go. So let me give you the layout. Me sitting at the table, on my left, the newspaper. On my right, the cup of coffee. In the middle of the table, my packet of biscuits.
I see it perfectly.
What you don't see, because I haven't mentioned him yet, is the guy sitting at the table already. He is sitting there opposite of me.
What's he like?
Perfectly ordinary. Briefcase, business suit. He didn't look as if he was about to do anything weird.
I know the type. What did he do?
He did this. He leaned across the table, picked up the packet of biscuits, tore it open, took one out, and...
What?
ate it.
What?
He ate it.
What on earth did you do?
Well, in the circumstances, I did what any red-blooded Englishman would do. I was compelled to ignore it.
What? Why?
Well, it's not the sort of thing you're trained for, is it? I searched my soul and discovered that there was nothing anywhere in my upbringing, experience, or even primal instinct to tell me how to react to someone who is quite simply calmly sitting right there in front of me, stealing one of my biscuits.
Well, could you could, I must say, I'm not sure what I would have done either. So what happened?
I stared furiously at the crossword. Couldn't do a single clue. Took a sip of coffee. It was too hot to drink, so there was nothing for it. I braced myself. I took a biscuit, trying very hard not to notice that the packet was already mysteriously open.
But you're fighting back, taking a tough line.
After my fashion, yes. I ate the biscuit. I ate it very deliberately and visibly, so that he would have no doubt as to what I was doing. When I eat a biscuit, it stays eaten.
So what did he do?
Took another one. Honestly, this is exactly what happened. He took another biscuit. He ate it. Clear as daylight, certain as we are sitting on the ground. And the problem was that, having not said anything the first time, it was somehow more difficult to broach the subject the second time around. What do you say? Excuse me? I couldn't help noticing. Doesn't work, no. No, I ignored it. If anything, even more vigorously than before.
My man.
I stared at the crossword again. Still couldn't budge a bit of it, so showing some of the spirit that Henry V did on St. Crispin's Day.
What?
I went into the breach again. I took another biscuit, and for an instant, our eyes met.
Like this?
Yes, well, no, not quite like that. But they met, just for an instant. And we both looked away. But I'm here to tell you that there was electricity in the air. There was a little tension building up over the table at about this time.
I can imagine.
We went through the whole packet like this. Him, me.
The whole packet?
Well, it was only 8 biscuits, but it seemed like a lifetime of biscuits. And we were getting through at this point. Gladiators could have hardly had a tougher time.
Gladiators would have had to do it in the sun, more physically grueling.
Aye, there is that. So, when the empty packet was lying dead between us, the man at last got up, having done his worst, and left. Oh, I heaved a sigh of relief, of course. As it happened, my train was announced a moment or two later, so I finished my coffee, stood up, picked up the newspaper, and underneath the newspaper...
Yes?
...were my biscuits. All right, let's enjoy another passage from one of our favorite books. Jenny, you picked out something. Would you like to share it with us?
Yes. This is a book called Gulliver's Fugitives. It's a Star Trek The Next Generation novelization. It's actually a book I've had for a very long time. And I think I have a soft spot in my heart for Wesley Crusher. I think that's an unpopular opinion.
Will Wheaton.
You just bring up Wesley Crusher and you get a lot of hatred. I don't understand really what it is. He's a wonderkind. He does a lot of problem solving, and I think people are a little bitter about that. I don't know.
You think that's it?
I'm trying to understand. I love...
or rationalize?
I'm trying to rationalize.
Okay.
I was the same age when I started watching Star Trek The Next Generation that Wesley Crusher was in the show, so maybe that is why I relate to him. Shiva danced the dance of the universe, his wild hair streaming about a face that was beyond bliss and pain. In one hand he held the flames of destruction, in another the drum, symbolizing time and creation. His third hand was in a position meaning elephant, the opener of the way, and his fourth hand he gestured fear not. In his streaming locks could be seen the crescent moon of birth, the skull of death, and the flower of the datura. As Wesley watched this image from Hindu mythology, this dance of creation and destruction unfolding on his computer screen, he likened it to the dance of subatomic particles with their birth, death, and continual exchange of energy, and the fire from the explosion that created the universe.
Incredible.
Incredible.
Thank
the
you.
Wisdom of Wesley Crusher.
Yes. Just the way he sees the world and the universe.
It's actually, it's quite deep. The dance of the physical universe, the endless round of light-dark, creation, destruction, life, death, the on-off vibration which there was no sound or light or life of universe at all. Wesley knew that even at the subatomic level, the smallest particles, the stuff which everything is made, oscillate through many states. Matter itself is a dance. The very quarks and leptons that comprised him were not exclusively his. They were descendants of the energy of the universe creation, explosion, and after they existed as Wesley, they would exist in a star, or a planet, or a tree. Just think about that for a little while.
I can't help it. I have to.
Okay.
Thanks. I'm going to read, as librarians, we often get questions at the reference desk. And this one, I feel like a lot of people are asking what a kobold is from Dungeons & Dragons.
I've never been asked what a kobold is, but I'm curious.
I feel like people should know. So I have with me the Dungeons & Dragons Monster Manual 3.5, and this is what it says. Kobolds are short, reptilian humanoids with cowardly and sadistic tendencies. A kobold's scaly skin ranges from rusty dark brown to a rusty black color. It has glowing eyes. Its tail is non-prehensile. Kobolds wear ragged clothing, favoring red and orange. Kobolds usually consume plants or animals, but are not averse to eating intelligent beings. They spend most of their time fortifying the land around their lairs with traps and warning devices, such as spiked pits, tripwires attached to crossbows, and other mechanical contraptions. Kobolds speak Draconic with a voice that sounds like that of a yapping dog. Oh, okay. I think that's enough.
That was great.
I mean, if you don't know what a kobold is now. Ooh, what do you have there for us, Jenny?
Well, I thought we could kind of lighten it up a little bit. I have this book called Comet in Moominland from the Moomin Troll series. We have the Moomin Gallery here, and it has little illustrations of each of the characters and a little introduction. There's Moomin Mama, the center of the family, highly moral but broad-minded. Moomin Papa, a storyteller and a dreamer, and a very loyal to his family and friends. Moomin Troll, as gullible as he is enthusiastic. He is also naive and extremely good-natured. The Snark Maiden, Moomin Troll's lady friend, and very occupied with romantic fantasies. Snufkin, a vagabond, a musician, and Moomin Troll's best friend. Sniff, an adopted family friend, his main interest in accruing riches such as gemstones. The Grok, the terror of everyone, the unmentionable horror.
Good thing you can't see the pictures.
Yeah, that's pretty scary.
Mm-hmm.
The Muskrat, would-be philosopher, likes to be left in peace. Thingamy and Bob, a mischievous pair, too fond of pea shooters and such. Tooticky, her common sense often restores order to the valley. And Little Mai, the family's small, disrespectful, yet extremely positive friend.
How sweet.
Chapter 1, which is about Moomin Troll and Sniff following a mysterious path to the sea, pearl fishing, the discovery of a cave, and how the muskrat avoided catching a cold. The Moomin family have been living for some weeks in the valley where they had found their house after a dreadful flood, which is another story. It was a wonderful valley, full of happy little animals and flowering trees. There was a clear, narrow river that came down from the mountain, looped around the Moomin house, and disappeared in the direction of Another valley, where no doubt other little animals wondered where it came from. One morning, it was the morning that Moomintroll Papa finished building a bridge over the river, the little animal Sniff made a discovery. There were still plenty of things left for them to discover in the valley. He was wandering in the forest when he suddenly noticed a path he had never seen before, winding mysteriously into the green shadows. Sniff was spellbound and stood gazing at it for several minutes. It's funny about paths and rivers, he mused. You see them go by, and suddenly you feel very upset and want to be somewhere else. Wherever the path or the river is going, perhaps. I shall have to tell Moomintroll about this, and we can explore it together, because it would be a bit risky for me to go alone. And then he carved a secret sign in the tree trunk with his penknife so that he could find this place again, and he thought proudly, Moomintroll will be surprised. And after that, he scooted home as fast as he could, so not to be late for lunch.
Wow, how gentle and wonderful.
Exactly.
Great note to close today's episode on. So I hope you enjoyed what we tried to do today. And yes, we hope to maybe do it again sometime.
I hope you found this relaxing and you put aside some of your worries.
I'm Brendan.
And I'm Jenny.
Take care of yourself.